The Zintharian High Command had made their first mistake 3 years ago. Their second mistake was assuming Jackson wouldn't remember. Elizabeth Chen sat across from him in the dimly lit operations center, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. "You're sure about this?" she asked, not looking up from the cascading data streams. "Once we're in, there's no turning back." Jackson's jaw tightened. They hunted him like an animal, broadcast it across 17 systems, called it entertainment. His voice remained steady, but Elizabeth caught the tremor in his hands. "I'm sure." The Zintharians were apex predators from the Andromeda cluster, standing 9 feet tall with obsidian exoskeletons and 4 arms ending in razor-sharp talons. They'd conquered 42 worlds before humanity even achieved faster-than-light travel. When Earth's colony ships ventured into their territory, the Zintharians didn't see threats, they saw prey. Jackson's son, Marcus, had been a xenobiologist on the research station orbiting Kepler-4 for 2b, 23 years old. Brilliant, with his father's stubborn optimism about alien contact, the Zintharians had taken him during a routine raid, not for resources, not for strategic advantage. For their Bloodsport championships, the broadcast lasted 47 minutes. Jackson had watched every second, had memorized every moment his son fought, every time he'd tried to reason with creatures that viewed mercy as weakness. The Zintharian arena crowds had roared their approval when Marcus finally fell. That was when something broke in Jackson, and when something else was born. "Target acquired," Elizabeth announced, pulling him from the memory. "Their command cruiser just dropped out of slipspace, right where you said it would be." Jackson had spent 3 years studying the Zith, not their military capabilities. Humanity's strategists already knew they were outgunned. He studied their psychology, their culture, their arrogance. The Zintharians believed themselves invincible, because they'd never faced an enemy willing to sacrifice everything for revenge. They didn't understand humanity's greatest weapon: spite. "Initiate protocol Trojan Horse," Jackson ordered. Elizabeth's fingers flew across controls, broadcasting distress signal on all Zintharian military frequencies. Encryption pattern matches their Omega-class colony ships. The bait was simple. A human vessel, crippled and adrift, carrying what appeared to be classified Earth defense protocols. To the Zintharians it would be irresistible a chance to dissect humanity's military secrets before their final extermination campaign. "They're taking it," Elizabeth confirmed, her voice tight with anticipation. "Tractor beam engaged. They're pulling us in." Their ship, the Vindication, wasn't actually crippled. Jackson had designed every system himself over 3 sleepless years, funded by selling everything he owned. The hull was reinforced with reactive armor. The engines could go from dormant to full burn in 2.3 seconds. And the cargo bay held something the Zintharians had never encountered. The cruiser's hangar bay swallowed them whole. Through external cameras, Jackson watched Zintharian soldiers approach arrogant, casual, expecting terrified refugees. "Now," he whispered, "that the Vindication erupted, but not with weapons with sound." Humanity had discovered the Zintharians' secret weakness by accident. Their exoskeletons evolved in Andromeda's low-gravity environments, resonated at a specific frequency, the same frequency as Earth's industrial machinery. Prolonged exposure caused cascading neurological failures. 20 hidden speakers unleashed a carefully calculated acoustic assault. The Zintharians in the hangar bay collapsed, their nervous systems overloading. Alarms screamed throughout the cruiser. "Phase 2, Jackson said, his voice cold as vacuum. Elizabeth triggered the boarding drones, hundreds of them, each carrying the acoustic weapon and a digital virus designed to corrupt Zintharian ship systems. They poured through ventilation shafts, maintenance tunnels, every vulnerability Jackson had identified in Zintharian cruiser designs. The invaders were becoming the invaded. Jackson and Elizabeth moved through the corridors in environmental suits, following the drone swarm. Zintharians writhed on the deck plates, their bodies betraying them. Some tried to fight, but the acoustic frequency made coordinated movement impossible. They reached the war room in 18 minutes. The command chamber was massive, designed to accommodate dozens of Zintharian officers planning the final assault on Earth's colonies. Holographic displays showed fleet positions, invasion routes, projected human casualties. Jackson saw his own world New Terraform, where his daughter and grandchildren lived, marked for recreational hunting grounds. The Zintharian admiral stood at the center, struggling to stay upright. Her translator implant crackled. "Impossible. Humans don't possess such technology." "We didn't," Jackson said, removing his helmet so she could see his face, "until you gave us a reason to develop it." He uploaded the virus directly into their command network. Every Zintharian vessel, every outpost, every communication relay would receive it. The frequency, weapons specifications, their vulnerability, exposed to every species they'd ever oppressed. The Admiral's eyes widened in understanding. "You've doomed us." "You doomed yourselves," Jackson replied, "when you thought mercy was weakness. When you hunted my son for entertainment." He leaned closer. His name was Marcus. "Remember it." Elizabeth placed a hand on his shoulder. "We need to go. Their reinforcements will arrive soon." But Jackson had one last thing to do. He activated the command room's own broadcasting system, the same one that had transmitted Marcus's death to 17 systems. Now it would transmit something else. Footage of the mighty Zintharians helpless, their war room captured, their secrets exposed. "Let them see," Jackson said. "Let every species they've terrorized know they can bleed." The Vindication burned away from the cruiser at full thrust, leaving the crippled command ship drifting. Behind them, the Zintharian Empire began to crumble as freed slave worlds rose up, armed with humanity's gift. Elizabeth ran calculations on her console. "We've changed the entire political landscape of this quadrant. The Zintharians won't recover from this." Jackson stared at the stars, seeing his son's face in the darkness between them. "Good," he whispered. Good humanity had learned a terrible lesson. They weren't the strongest species in the galaxy. They weren't the fastest or the most advanced, but they were the species that, when pushed to the edge, would walk into hell itself for vengeance. The Zintharians had killed Jackson's son for sport. Now they would spend generations learning the cost of that mistake.